Hello, everybody. This is Mike from Nymphs, Knots, and Nonsense. This year, I've been float tubing a lot in my local club water. It's only a 3-acre pond. The maximum depth is maybe a little bit over 3 meters deep. And so I got a float tube and I've been kicking around on it. It's absolutely the perfect size for a float tube, and you control, you can move around. There's lots of things that extra little bit of mobility can give you. But I found that I was having a problem figuring out where the fish were staying, how deep the pond was. And so I got one of these little things, and this is a deeper Pro Plus 2, and it is a sonar. It's a little portable sonar. It screws apart here. So you'll see it works like this. This is just a shell top. This is a little waterproof seal, and right here is where your charging port is. So you just pop this open, it takes a USB-C, and you can charge it, right? But what it has on the outside is it has these little screw holes, and it comes with eyelets. And what I did was I took an eyelet, I added some 50-pound mono and just made a loop there, added a carabiner, and then I take this and screw the eyelet. There are 3 holes. There's one up top, one to the side, and one down low. And I screw it into the body of the Deeper Pro, and that's hooked up to my carabiner. I just take this and clip it onto one of the D-rings on the side of my float tube, and as I'm out kicking around, this takes a sonar, shows me where the fish are, or more likely where the fish are holding, also shows me the depth of the water so that I can set up, say, an indicator rig so that I'm fishing 30 centimeters, 12 inches off the bottom, which is exactly where you want to be because that's where the fish are hanging out most of the time. The other thing that's cool is it comes with a mobile application. So you install the mobile application on your phone. When you start using the sonar, you connect to the built-in Wi-Fi. So the sonar itself has 2 little contact dots on the bottom, and when those get in water, it turns the sonar on, and then it opens up as a Wi-Fi access point. No internet access, of course. There's no backhaul there, but it opens up as a Wi-Fi access point. You can connect to it with your phone, use the mobile application, and it will give you a display while you're fishing, just using your phone as the head unit or the display part of a sonar. So that makes for an incredibly portable solution. You can use it in little John boats, you can use it in kayaks, you can use it a bunch of different ways. I just happen to be using it today in my float tube. Now, what I'm showing here is the web version of what the Deeper application looks like. Down at the bottom is a scan, and you can see you can scroll. This actually shows up in the mobile application as you're out fishing or boating around. It will show you what the depth is, where you're currently at. And you'll see as I move this around, you'll see up here, this little triangle is my boat and the position of it. So this here, the little fan icon, that's where I started recording. This little finished here, that's where I stopped. And you can see as throughout the course of this fishing session, where the fish are, what I'm seeing, and what's the depth, right? Where's the bottom at? Now, if I scroll all the way back here to the end, you'll see at the end, I bumped around in this area quite a bit. And there's a reason. It's because there's this big trough, and right on the edge of the trough where the weeds meet the deeper water, that's where the fish hang out. And if I can find some here, so like there's a thing, you can actually see this down here. That's where I started picking up fish and detecting fish. So you'll see little fish, they show up, they look like that. There are also bigger fish that show up. And really the value of the fish finder is two things. One is it tells you what's the depth, how deep is that particular part of the pond. The second is it'll tell you how deep the fish are sitting. So what you could say here is the bottom is at, say, 9 feet deep. That fish right there is holding at, let's call it 7 feet deep. So I can set my indicator to that depth, cast out, and then just do a slow retrieve or a count and then retrieve. Normally I do 30 seconds and then I do five hand twist retrieves, but that will put that fly at the right depth to put it in front of the fish. Now, a downside is that sonar only looks down from where you're at. So if you remember, you're fishing, you're sitting in a tube, you're casting in front of you out, let's say 20 meters, 20, 25 meters, the sonar looks down below you. So you'll see fish that get marked on the sonar, but that's not exactly where you're fishing because you're fishing in front of you. So what you do is you cruise around until you find fish, then you back off a little bit and start fishing that area where you were marking fish at. Okay. Now, over here on the left-hand side, you can see all these different scans. These are different times, different tracks that I went out and started scanning for stuff. This one this was a very busy day. But what I'm trying to do is over time cover the area so that I have multiple readings over the bottom of the pond that get averaged out to draw me this depth map or this bathymetric map and cover up all of the areas that I don't have data for. So right here, you'll see this big chunk up here in the north end of the pond and a couple holes. So there's one right there. There's another one over there where I just haven't gone in and scanned those yet. I've been around the edges of it, but I haven't scanned that exact spot. So I don't have any data to determine what the depth is and to add it to my map. Now, a couple things that have helped me out a lot. You'll see over here when you come into the summary, it's just in the map here. You just go to the summary. It'll tell you these are the recent scans. And here's favorite water. This is where I've been a lot. That will actually show me the entirety of the lake. One of the things you can do is if you go over here to the legend, you can actually go down and your personal map is all of the scans that I did. They're not publicly available yet. And you can change the color palette. So normally the Pacific blue or rainbow, those are the default views. There's one here that I can turn on that's detailed shadows. It makes it a lot easier to tell where the deep spots are. In fact, you see right here is a deep spot and you can click on them and it'll show you. So there's 10 feet. This should be 10 feet. 10 feet. And this one right here gets down and hits 11 in a very narrow area. I can't click on it reliably every time. But those are the deep spots, are that orange, and then the red is a little bit shallower. So this is 9 feet, 9 feet over here. This medium red, going to be a little bit different depth, so 8 feet. And you'll see something like this over here. That's at 5 feet. This here around the edge is 3 feet. So it's a lot easier to see in a shallow pond what the bottom looks like. Another trick that I did with this thing is if you come up here, bathymetry, you can do, if you do fast, it sort of blurs everything, right? It looks like a big potato lake. If you change it to detailed, that gives you that view that I was looking at. And then if we move this over and we scroll out just a little bit, it takes a little bit of trial and effort to get it there, but you can actually go in and set this up to print it In fact, that's way too big. Let's drop it down. All right, like something like that. Print. Okay, so you have to experiment a little bit with placement, experiment a little bit with what size you want it to be, but you can actually take, and this is what I did for the club once I get this thing, once I get the top sections found out, is I will go in and print this, and then I can save it as a PDF, right? So save as PDF here. Um, Save it, print it out, stick it up on the sliding glass door of the club, take the PDF, share it with people inside the club, and now they have access to a map, which will help them go in and find fish, especially in the summer when the water gets hot and the fish go deep. I think ultimately the last word I want to leave you all with on this is that I'm having a lot of fun with my sonar. I think it comes in incredibly useful as a tool both for fishing, but also for fisheries management. And the deeper site had a lot of examples on how people are using their sonar and going in and, say, recording the depth and doing surveys of up high mountain lakes where you can't get heavy equipment in there. So they take their sonar, hook it up to a little remote controlled boat, and drive it around the pond or the lake in order to get all of this depth and to survey where the fish are and how big the fish are. So I think it's a good science tool. It's a good fishing tool. And I've just been having a blast out there on the water with it. As always, I am Mike. This is Nymphs, Knots, and Nonsense. Do all the YouTube things like subscribe, share, put in the comments where you think I'm wrong, and I will see you in the next video.